Hello there people, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to be looking at a video by Sigma Traits, and realistically it's just kind of a highlighting how, women are so unpredictable, so emotional, and fundamentally they're never going to be happy. Like, if you find a woman that you can do X amount of things for and she's going to be happy for the rest of her life and she's going to be content, I think you should really take her to the highest levels of studying and dating and, studying human behaviour. Because the women that I see today, the women that I've experienced, either possess two horrible traits that kind of realistically merge together and all become one. And from my personal view, I've seen that you cannot trust a woman because she's hypergamous, right? And at the end of the day, she will cheat on you on a dime. You can tell yourself she won't, she will. Hypergamy is programmed into women, and in the current day and age, hypergamy has never been easier for women to entertain. And then also you add into the fact that they will turn on you on a dime instantly, whenever, how they feel, because women are emotional creatures who serve themselves, so their emotions are always based on how they feel and how happy they are, and they will always make choices based on how happy they are. They will pretend they care about the man, but fundamentally women are programmed to be selfish to the core. And if you think about it, the only being that a woman can truly love is their kids, and even then they can still turn their back on them. So if a woman who is brought on this planet to supposedly nurture and care for their children unwaveringly and love them unwaveringly, and women are meant to be the ones who are born to, have that bond with children, and that was their sole purpose on this earth, was to connect and bond and bring up, love and cherish their children, they can still turn their back on their children. That's the reality. And the bottom line is, you'll never be able to make a woman happy, period. So that always leaves room for her being disloyal in any fashion. So let's just watch the video. I thought it gives a few good highlights, little clips that just kind of show you. The first one's a good one. But just listen to this one and then we'll go from there.
I learned a lot about women. I think I learned exactly how the fall of man occurred in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and Adam said one day, "Wow, Eve, here we are at one with nature, at one with God. We'll never age, we'll never die, and all our dreams come true the instant that we have them." And Eve said, "Yeah, it's just not enough, is it?"
Look at the face. Just look at the face.
Wow. That's not funny.
I was just waiting for more.
So that was...
She walked straight into that one. Women will always expect you, the man, to give them more. The trick is to make them realize that every day you stay with them is a gift to be cherished, because you're not kissing her ass left and right.
You want a high-value man? So do you want a guy who's got status or wealth?
Not necessarily wealth, but just has something going for himself.
My argument here would be, the more money he gets, the less he cares about your money.
Right, but those type of men want to be able to have an intellectual conversation.
No, not really.
Men don't like to spend their entire existence in the company of an argumentative wife. They want peace in their castle. She thinks she's an intellectual? It's hard to have those kinds of conversations with women, because if you say something they don't like, they get mad and derail the whole conversation.
I'm saying we were technologically more advanced. Would you
So you're
disagree
saying
with
we're
that?
superior to Australian Aboriginals?
That's quite the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying we were superior. I'm saying we were technologically more advanced.
So how is that the opposite?
Superior implies a moral quality. I'm not making any moral implication. You seem to be. But
Okay.
what I'm saying is...
I think most people would hear it that way.
No,
Again, you're very intelligent.
Do you see how when a woman's in her feelings that she can't see reality? So he's saying they're technologically more advanced, meaning that they have created and established systems that are more advanced than the other. So he's just basically saying one is more technologically advanced than the other. That's all he's saying. But she's taking it as in, he's saying, oh, you think that they're superior, or, you know, she's twisting it. And you're saying that they're superior, are they? You know, like, it's like, well, no, they've just created a more advanced system. That's, you know what I'm saying? Because she's in her feelings, she just wants to sit and argue with them. This is the reality of dealing with a woman and trying to even deal with them on a small scale, and then you've got to spend the rest of your life with it. It's
Man, how would most people hear that?
Most people would hear what I'm saying for what I'm saying, which is
Don't think they would.
You seem to get quite heated about this, which is completely unnecessary. You think it's necessary?
I'm a bit stunned by what you're implying.
No, you're acting in a kind of passive-aggressive way, which indicates that you're not happy.
I genuinely am being 100% authentic. My visceral reaction to a white man sitting and saying to me, and why were we able to commit genocide on them? And then just pausing.
Yes.
Is very visceral to me.
Well, let's go back. First of all, it's interesting that you brought up my skin color, because I thought that was the exact opposite of the point you're trying to make in the book.
Her book is literally called How to Have Tough Conversations, and she proceeds to be incapable of having one. She represents everything wrong with Western modern-day society.
Why'd y'all get divorced?
Because of me. I primarily was the reason, and so...
Hold on, tell me about that, because I don't believe that.
Look, see this guy, I can already tell he's a simp. He's got that feminine mindset. Oh, but you're a sweet little woman. It can't be all you. It must be the man. You know, these guys are the problem as well. The woman is literally saying, because of me. And he's going, oh, no, but it can't be because of you. It must have been that man. That man must have done something to you, you little sweet angel. Come on, mate. She is sitting saying, because of me. When a woman admits something, that is a rare thing. And when a woman admits something, she means it. Okay, dummy?
There have been some of you.
I had an emotional affair, and so
And you both chose that you couldn't work through an emotional affair after 4 kids?
So basically, she's fell for another guy. I've heard these stories before. It's happened to people I know where the women get one instance, a guy I know, he was married, had 2 children, and the woman got a crush on a guy. She started going to the gym. She got a crush on this guy at the gym that she hadn't even spoken to. She got obsessed with him, and obviously realised that in her mind that she could do better than the guy she was with, her husband. So she divorced him without even speaking to the guy. But what actually happened, she just got this crush on this guy at the gym, and it opened her hypergamy. And once a woman taps into her hypergamy and she convinces herself that she can do better, that the relationship or the marriage that she's currently in is over. There is no fixing it. That woman has made her mind up primarily that she can do better, and that will never change. It's done. This is what and this guy's sitting saying, oh, well, it must have been the guy. Well, no, women are hypergamous, and once it gets activated, that's it. That's it. They want to move on to bigger and better things according to what their brain's telling them.
Yeah, we'd already tried to work through other things.
Okay. Well, I want to separate what you did, have an emotional affair, with a choice to end a marriage. Because you can fall for somebody. You can have deep emotional connection with somebody and all that. And you can also choose to cut that off and to reimagine and rebuild your marriage if you're both in.
She said they had already been working on other stuff. The affair was just the last thing, not the only cause.
Why the hell am I getting remarried?
Because I'm dead.
You know how much work I had to put in just to marry you? And how much time and effort I put into this relationship? Why?
So there you go. That's the amount of effort you have to put into women. Women are worse than a full-time job. You know, there's no such thing as a woman that just falls for you. You meet, you know how they say, you meet and love at first sight and you just live happily ever after. That is a lie. Women are a constant battle to keep happy. It's literally worse than a full-time job. That's why most men go insane trying to deal with women, and then they get to a point where they're like, do you know what, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. And that's what that guy's basically saying. if his wife died, he wouldn't even be interested in trying. That's how much effort it is to deal with a woman.
Why the hell would I go searching for something else? Listen, I'm 41 years old, okay? To get back in the dating world, you'd like walk out there. Wouldn't even know what to do. I'd walk out there and be like, hi, I'm Shane. They'd be like, hi, I'm a shark.
What if you're old?
If you die, I'm going with you, okay? We're going out together, holding hands, same plot,
like
whatever.
in the Notebook?
I don't care, yeah.
So that's a common thing for men, right? They would die for their women. But do you really think a woman would die for you? This is where hypergamy comes in, because women will not die for you. They will not put their life before yours. You know, they have what would you say, is it a surface level connection with you, or a transactional connection with you. I'm not saying there's not anecdotal women who find it capable to truly love a man, but the general populace of women, it's all about how much can you serve me. If you're not meeting my needs, I don't love you anymore. But whereas a man can meet a woman, and if she ticks enough boxes, he will love her unconditionally for the rest of his life. That's the reality.
Do you know how rough that would be on me? That's why I have to go first, not you. Like, screw that. Are you planning on dying with me when I go then?
Yes.
Like, are we going to Romeo and Juliet?
First of all, men hate these relationship test questions. Second of all, if you take the wife out of this video and you just make it about this man being newly single, this is exactly how so many men in their 40s that are single feel.
Respect, brother.
And not just men in their 40s. I think every man that's waking up to the reality of women's nature are like, the juice just is not worth the squeeze. It's just like, you think even the thought of entertaining women, it's just like, no thanks. Once you get to a certain point, it's just like, yeah, I will choose peace over chaos, thank you. Because you're just gambling with all sorts of insanity when you deal with women. And the main one is your emotions and your mental health, your general well-being, then your financial situation, and in some cases your life, because some women can get you in situations that are just beyond belief. Because fundamentally women are evil as well as self-serving. If they find a way in their brain to say, I need to do this because it makes sense to me, they will do it, even if it means deleting the man. That's the reality. Women are cold, yeah? And if you're dealing with a being that is self-centered to the core, why would you bother trying to even trust it? That's the reality of the way I see it, you know?
My dad died in '96. Mom, 25 years later, she never once dated or chose another. She said my dad was the only man she would ever love.
Well, if that's the case, that is amazing. But how many stories do you hear like that nowadays? Like women, you know, abstaining and only being with one man. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't happen.
And he was waiting for her. I just hope they found each other and are safe and happy. Love them both and miss them every day.
Most men will only experience unconditional love from their mothers, and some of us don't even get that.
Facts. That's the reality. That's what I said. You know, women can even turn their back on their own children.
Most of us have never even felt.
Just look at how many women get children aborted and how common it is. They even fight for the right to basically kill children. That's how evil they are. You see how passionate they get about it, and some of them even enjoy it. You see videos where they're like, if I'm having a boy, deleted. You see them on TikTok making videos all happy about hating men and aborting babies if they're boys. This is the level of evil that is in women, you know. And once men realise this, they're like, wow, damn, you are a piece of work, and I actually do not like women's nature, you know.
Felt appreciation or respect without conditions or hidden intentions. We don't know what it sounds like to hear, I see you, and I'm proud of you, I'm glad you're here. You really make a difference. Yet the expectation is to constantly be displaying the strength and love that the world is hesitant in conveying. We're expected to have a thick skin but get judged if it turns to a hard shell. The first step in...
This did it for me. Thank you. I'm deleting my dating apps and focusing on myself until a woman actually approaches me. If not, their loss.
And even then, if a woman approaches you, I've had it. I've been in nightclubs, women come up to me, and it's just superficial. They look at me and they just want to sleep with me. I've had women coming up, trying all things, you know, even to the point where they've literally came up and just started grabbing me, showing me their body, you know, saying, like, just tell me basically that they're up for fun. I've had them sitting with their boyfriend, and then actually when their boyfriend's back's turned, because we've had a bit of interaction, saying, are you going to bend me over and bang me? This is the reality of women. The hypergamy trumps anything. Loyalty, trust, companionship. If their hypergamy speaks to them and they see something that they think is better, they will go for it. That's the reality.
To all the young gentlemen just noticing the fairer sex, here's a tip. Do not date an ambitious girl. Okay? If that girl's, you meet her in college and she's talking about how she wants to do this and she wants to do that and accomplish this and accomplish that, and she wants to be the big dog CEO of some company, leave her. Immediately. Run. You will...
Yeah, because for me, and I know this is not exactly a scientific take, but I feel like, you know, that women who are overly ambitious are really open, their hypergamy is really opened up to a point that's not healthy for a woman, because a woman who is not fully in her hypergamy doesn't think that way. They think, I want to meet a man, have children and settle down. But when you've got a woman who's thinking, I need to go and conquer the world, that for me is not a feminine way, and that's not a woman who you can have a family and settle down with and have a, you know, you can go and live in the middle of nowhere and have a happy family life. This woman wants to go and see the world, travel, experience all the different things the world's got to offer. And is that somebody you can really trust? And then they want to get to, like he says, I think he goes on to say that they want to be CEOs, they want to be boss babes, all this nonsense. That is not girlfriend qualities.
Trust me, you will save yourself a massive amount of headaches. Ambitious boss babe bitches are nothing but a fucking headache for a man. And honestly, considering they pretty much act like men, might as well just date a dude.
Exactly. This is what we see so commonly nowadays. Women acting like men. They're so just like combative and masculine and like evil and angry and bitter, and it's not even masculinity. I think it's just a broken woman. And once a woman becomes broken, she's just a scorned demon. I think what happens is, when you get these women that tap into their hypergamy, it leads them onto a trail of misery and destruction. They get the thrills from sleeping with all the guys and doing all the girl trips and going to Dubai and whatever and going and living the life, but it ends up making them bitter because they think they can have it all, and then they get to a point where they realise they can't. They realise they've messed up their life and they just become bitter little demons, and then that's when they become really hateful and really combative and masculine and damaged, you know?
Once again, a laser beam focus on reality is presented.
Pornography is an addiction. So think about it. OnlyFans can be to somebody because it's a subscription-based program per profile, like gambling.
Yeah. Or like an addiction, like you're addicted to looking at this person. You're addicted to this type of look and this type of fantasy. Even people in relationships, you know, if they're men or, if, you know, even girls that are just engaging in this type of entertainment, they're watching these people just take off their clothes. They look amazing. Like they have these waterboard abs and like these big butts and big boobs. So I feel like it just affects women's identity. It affects men's identity even. Like you have to achieve these physical attributes in order to be
Yeah, we're definitely living in times where there's a lot of lonely men who feed a lot of these women and make them worse. So it's like a horrible situation. It's like the perfect storm for the downfall of humanity, where we've got technology, women can do what they want, men obviously want women, but these women play it in a way where they're basically digital prostitutes, and they use men's nature against them to make money and gain power, and that's why we're seeing women out earning men now, all mainly through either marrying rich men and divorcing them, or some sort of sex work, digital or only fools, and you know, going to Dubai trips. And you know, we're living in a time where women are only chasing the top men, so there's a pool of men who want women, but most women don't want the men, but they'll use them for their resources and their money. But the most women want to chase the guys who can get all the women. So it's a horrible kind of system that we're living in.
Considered attractive. So I feel like that also really can affect your intimate.
Truth or Dare for you?
Truth or Dare.
Call your mom and tell her you just started an OnlyFans.
Okay. Hi. Mom, I have news to tell you.
Okay.
I started like a little business thing.
Oh, yeah?
It's called OnlyFans.
Okay.
Isn't that sick? Are you happy for me?
I'm so happy for you.
Look it up.
Okay, OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay.
Oh no.
You see the reaction of her mother. So like, we can see even the difference in the evolution of, although women have all got hypergamous nature, it depends on the environment how much it opens up. Because if you go back to the days of maybe when it was horse and cart, and you know, you had to live in a small village, it was a whole different mindset, you know, that didn't even exist. And then as times went on, we've got a bit more advanced, a bit more advanced, a bit more advanced, and we've got all the technology now. But you even see in just a generation previous how they might obviously cheating happened back in the day, but you can just see the difference between somebody who didn't get brought up in technology and is a bit more traditional, and then you can see modern women like this who are just literal hypergamy demons, you know. Like, look, they're literally wearing next to nothing. I mean, need I say more? You know, everybody knows what the modern women's like.
Would you let your girlfriend do OnlyFans?
Bro, fuck no, bro. That's bad for business, bro. That's all the way bad. Why would I want other niggas who pay for my girl and see her body when that's only for me to see? Why would I want the whole world to see that, bro? That's...
Yeah, so that's what women need to realise. And I think they do, but I don't think they care, that if you're dealing with a quality man, he doesn't want a woman, he will never realistically settle for a woman who shows her body off to the world and just flaunts her flesh all over the place. A true man with self-respect wants a woman who has modesty, doesn't seek validation and attention from other men, doesn't show her flesh all over the place, all over the internet, looking for pictures, looking for likes, sending pictures and whatever. This is what modern women either don't realise or don't care, that you'll never meet a man who has got a certain level of standards like self-respect, masculinity, frame and boundaries, and a man who realistically has self-respect that women yearn for. That man will never accept a woman that is just as common as muck and shows her body off. You know, a man wants a woman to be as pure as possible. And if we look around now, we don't see very much purity, do we? We don't see purity being pushed. It's just complete and utter, you know, it's like we're living in the most sexualized times that I think we've maybe ever lived in. That we, I mean, it's off the chain, you know.
Bad for business, but that's bad question.
Boy, am I glad I am taking myself out of the dating pool. I thought the church would be the best place to find a woman, but even there, issues exist. Lord, please save us. Thanks for watching Sigma Traits.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, most men are taking themselves out of the dating pool for so many reasons that I could go into, but I'm not going to. But I mean, if you think about it, imagine you just sleep around with one of these modern chicks and get them pregnant. I mean, just think of that for starters. Once that happens, the system's in their favour and your life's pretty much cooked. They control you, they run you, they tell you when you can and can't see your children. And then they've got new men all the time, and it just goes on and on and on and on. There is no purity. I believe that purity and modesty is gone from women, and it will never return in any time soon. If it does, as long as women, there will be no more purity, there will be no more modesty, and there will be no more. Women are so far out of the masculine frame, it's just wild, and we're witnessing it. So until the next time, take it easy and peace.